Hi, it's JK with Elevated Recovery, and today we're going to talk about what to do if you are accidentally exposed or you actually find yourself viewing pornography. Now, in today's world, in today's technologically driven world, it's not a matter of if you're going to be exposed to pornography, it's actually a matter of when. You could be watching a movie, playing a video game, watching something on YouTube, flipping through Instagram. Literally anything that you're doing that involves a screen today puts you at risk for being exposed to pornography. So there are a couple of things that you can do when you're exposed to it to kind of mitigate or rather reduce the negative effects that it'll have on you. The first thing you have to do is identify whatever you were viewing as pornography. So for instance, you were watching a movie, and whether it was online or on TV or whatever, and boom, you just get exposed to pornography, however that happens. The first thing you do is, in your mind or verbally, identify that as porn. I just got exposed to pornography. It literally takes less than a second for our brains to identify a sexual act. We're hardwired to identify that. So the first thing you do is you have to say, this is pornography. The second thing you do is you have to shut down your senses. What that means is, instead of indulging it or carrying on with it, you have to shut it down immediately. And there's several ways you can do this. You can literally physically shut down your senses by shutting your eyes or closing your ears. You can also physically leave the room or shut off the device that you got exposed to pornography on. So those are some of the ways that you shut down your senses to prevent this from moving any further. The third way is to find out what the lie in that piece of pornography that you accidentally were exposed to is. Now, one thing to realize about pornography is a lot of what it shows you isn't true about sex, about men, about women, about masculinity, or being feminine. So the first thing you do is, even if it was in a second or half a second, is try and identify what was not real about that. What was, it could be the actual sex act, it could be the actors involved in it, whatever about it that wasn't real. It's important to identify that. What this does is it takes away the legitimacy of pornography. And it's very important to keep doing this, because you're going to be exposed to porn. Even for someone like myself who doesn't watch pornography anymore, whether I like it or not, I'm going to be exposed to pornography. So it's very important that immediately I see it, I find out what's not true about it, and that always reminds me and grounds me, letting me know that, hey, this is not real. The fourth thing is to tell someone about the exposure. This is another powerful way of just simply letting it go. The more you stay away from pornography, the more sensitive you become to it. It tends to stay in your mind a little bit longer. It's something that sort of pollutes your day. So one of the things you can do is, let's say you have a partner or you have a sibling. You can, of course, a sibling of age, is you can just share with them that, hey, I was watching this movie and boom, suddenly I was exposed to porn, however that happens. What this does is that it just lets you relieve a little bit of the burden of being exposed to pornography. And this really helps. The next thing is refocus on something positive. Chances are, when you were accidentally exposed to pornography, you weren't looking for it. Chances are you were doing something innocent and you were enjoying yourself with that, and then boom, pornography just showed up to jack your day up. So one of the things you can do is refocus on something positive. An example is, let's say you are watching a movie on a browser and you just got exposed to some pornography, it showed up. One of the things you can do is shut that browser down or shut that tab down and open up a new tab and focus on something else, or read something positive, or watch something that's maybe a little less sexual. And that's usually something that helps to get your mind off pornography. The reason to do this is because it's very easy to dwell on that. You do it once, the next week you get exposed to pornography again, you dwell on it, and the next thing you know, you're in fantasy land and in a place you don't want to be with porn. Finally, identify how to avoid that situation in the future. So let's say you were exposed to pornography while you were watching late night cable TV, and suddenly you were flipping through the channels and you found out that there was actually a channel that was dedicated to softcore pornography. Well, you have several choices. You can call your cable company and make sure that that channel is removed. You can make sure you're not watching cable TV at that time of the night. You can also install a porn blocker if you found that on your while you were surfing the web. You can choose to be very careful about who you follow on social media sites. Sometimes people just spam Facebook and Instagram with pornography, and a lot of this really depends on whom you're following and whom you accept as friends and whom you expose yourself to and whom you associate with. So maybe you need to block some friends who keep exposing pornography to you on their pages. So that's one of the things to do. So again, I'll go through them. The things you can do when you are accidentally exposed to pornography. The first thing is identify it as pornography. The second thing is shut down your senses. The third thing is find out what the lie in the pornography is. The fourth thing is tell someone about the exposure. Fifth is refocus on something positive. And finally, identify how to avoid it in the future.